Hi, First
Hey,
Radio. I'm Reverend Rich. This is Reverend,
Reverend Paul.
and we have a special guest today, Reverend Niecy Harmon. Oh my gosh! Welcome,
Hi, thank
welcome.
you. I'm glad to
Welcome,
be
welcome.
here. Thank
So let's
you.
go ahead. Let's go ahead and give her a big praise and shout because you're on Prayers Radio today, and this is only about prayer. And
Affirmative prayer.
there we go, Ernest Holmes. And Reverend, would you pray us in, Reverend Niecy?
Absolutely. Let us pause, knowing that this pause is for peace, and this peace pause is knowing that we're each one with the creator of peace. Each one of us is that instrument, and we're here to know the truth about prayer, spiritual mind treatment, when we affirm the truth that happens in our lives. So I look forward to playing with these gentlemen today on the practice of prayer so we can do it in the world all day. We give thanks for this knowing, and so it is.
And
And
so it
so it is.
is.
Paul and I were talking before the show, and we're here to just figure out what works, and we talk with other reverends and stuff. And let's go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, first of all, you're at secdoth.org. SECDOTHAN
Nobody's
dot
ever
org.
said it like that
Did I-
before.
How do you say it?
Well, it's the Spiritual Enrichment Center of Dothan. Those are our um, code letters, I guess. And I like the fact that we're called, I was telling Paul that we're an enrichment center. We're here to enrich the spirit. And um, they, we adopted that name before I got there. I've been there about a year. I signed my second contract as of October, so I'm into my second year. And so
Yay.
I was discovering all about the Dothan area. So it's a beautiful opportunity to have a place that is of like mind in an area of that nature because it's Christian based, for lack of a better way to put it, and we encompass all walks of faith.
Mm.
So it gives us a little more adventure and branching out, but it's not an easy fit either. So
Where's that located? What state is that, or what?
it's in Alabama,
Okay.
Dothan. It's 90 minutes from Panama City Beach. That's one of the plugs that got me there. I thought I spent a lot of time at the beach. That hasn't happened as much as I thought it would initially, but it's beginning to happen now. I spent October, November, and a part. I was there this weekend, so I do get to the beach a little more. It helps me to write and produce better spiritual mind treatments and talks, and because there's something about the ocean that's my happy
Mm.
place.
Well, we'll end up plugging your. You have a book
Mm.
also.
I do. Before I got there, my ministry is called Happy Academy. So when I became ordained
Yep.
through
Happy
CSL,
Academy.
yes,
.org.
Happy Academy, myhappyacademy.org,
My
and
happy
that
academy.
and this
Okay.
is the book that inspired that. Let me see if I can get it centered.
Birds of a
Birds
feather.
of a
And what's that
feather.
about?
Yes.
And what's that about, Reverend Niecy?
It's actually a true story based on prayer, that prayer works. I had a prayer group when I was traveling with IBM. I needed my weekly fix like AA or NA, and I started Prayer Works. And I kept saying I'd write a book, write a book, write a book. And went to a reunion, and my granddaughter at the time got the youngest baby award, and it was a Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat book. So I
Mm.
said, I bet I could do that. And what had happened was this story. My kids were staying here for a brief time with their three parakeets, and two got out and one didn't. And they made it back home safely. So I got to tell that story in a rhyme. So we prayed about it, and they overnighted, and we thought a falcon was going to eat them, and but they made it overnight. And we think the one that stayed home brought them back home. So we say prayer works, where two or
Mm.
more may gather. So it's based on a true story and a Dr. Seuss rhyme that promoting prayer.
What was funny is in our pre-show we were talking, and she Reverend Nisi goes, Yeah, I got done with Big Blue, and I said, "Ooh, I worked for IBM too over at Blossom Hill over in San Jose as a contractor for a while." So we're like going, "Hey, what's up?" So it was, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
a
was
small world.
nice. It
Yeah.
is. There are no mistakes. There are no coincidences. I think we're in divine order, and I like these signs that sync
Oh
us up.
yeah, yeah. I think it's wonderful. Well, we're going to plug you a little bit more at the end of the show. Paul,
Okay.
would you like to start with the first question?
Yeah, well, we already mentioned what how prayer works for you. Are there any other examples in your life of how prayer has brought you, like even maybe going to Dolphin?
We can work backwards because that it really did because I was at the point that I really needed income. I had left IBM in 2020 during the pandemic because I didn't want to find another landing spot with and prove myself to a new boss. So the project was Happy Academy, my ministry, and writing the book. And then the savings was gone. So now I needed income. So I prayed my way to income. And one of the things was I wanted to do what I love. And I heard this in my journey through CSL training that do what you love and the money will come. And I
Mm,
think that's what really actually happened. So I found you through Lissa and I started joining the Circles Call. And that's how I met Donna. And Donna mentioned that there was an opening in Dothan. And I ended up going to Dothan and thinking it was a sweet little spot. And here I am.
Spiritual
what
synchronicity.
It
so
is.
the spiritual circles? What are you talking about that, Paul?
So we
Paul.
run every morning. The Science of Mind magazine has the spiritual circles where you get together with like-minded people, and we talk about different articles in the Science of Mind magazine. And so Niecy came in as I came into the circles, and that's how we got together. And
Yep,
through
that's
the
how we
circles,
met.
I saw her journey just open up into the minister at Dolphin.
Yeah,
Yes.
we wanted to make sure our audience knew what that was because some of them are listening to this, some of us are viewing us online, and we want to make sure that everybody can follow along. Or what are they talking about?
True. True.
And you can go to csl.org and put in spiritual circles, and it'll come up with, like, since we're on Zoom now, all over the world you can join
Oh yeah, and different languages too.
in different
They have
languages. Correct.
Spanish and I think German and Russian and French, I believe too, also. So, but you want to check that out. Anyways, let's get back to the questions.
So, Nisi, how do you stay grounded in prayer?
I came back to the circles. Remember, I stopped for a long time
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and I was getting my feet wet with my role and Dolphin, but then I needed my own safe space to talk too. Because when you're a leader, you're leading, but you also need leading too. And the
Mm.
circle spot helped me to get back to the fact that I need my own circle
Yeah,
to
you need
help
that
me
prayer every
stay.
day.
I
Yes.
do, I do, or at least once a week. It's back to that plug-in. I need a plug-in once a week. I pray every day, though. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I say thank you, and that's a prayer for me. I'm in gratitude all day, every day, even with the stuff that I don't like. That came over time because I
Mm.
would fuss about or fret about things that bothered me, and prayer stops that too. It
And bring,
helps me get out of my emotions about things quickly
and bring us
or
through your day.
faster.
How do you start your day with prayer, as you said?
Oh, as soon as I wake up, I say thank you, and I before I go to bed, I say thank you. Before I got to the thank yous, I had to do laughter. When I was going through my divorce, I wasn't saying thank you. I was not happy, so I started watching funny things like Will and Grace or Mike and Molly, or stuff like that. I would have stuff that would take me out of my own head to make
Mm.
me laugh, and then I would be grateful again because I was
Mm,
laughing. So if you can't, and now it's automatic. After COVID, it was automatic. The fact that I could breathe every day and get up and eat and had a
Mm.
roof over my head, I took life to a whole new ball game. So saying thank you is quite easy now, but it wasn't pre-COVID. I don't think. Yeah.
And is there anything during your day that triggers you to go back into prayer?
Yes, Comcast cable is, is one. we've
That'll
gotten
do it.
on we've gotten on better terms though. I have to give them credit because at once they would just send me over the top. Um, Sometimes I saw the word when we were looking at the question. Sometimes doubt still comes up. I think that's why I like the 7 steps of treatment. I have the nerve to think that there's not a God that's got me every now and then. And so I do have to step in the treatment then, and I need those steps, denial and reaffirmation, because I'm slipping in my own self, knowing God's got this, but I don't see it. I don't see the
Mm.
bridge. I don't see the step to take. So I need help.
Well, that's important that you realize your humanity in that is that we're individualized expressions of God, but we have to remember that we can say, oh, hold on, whoa, this is this is my thoughts, this is my stuff, and then you can just deny power to it. And then you can always call a prayer practitioner too, right, Paul?
Right.
Exactly.
Many times we've done that.
Exactly.
I'll get a text or text. I'll text Rich. I need a prayer. Boom, right there.
Oh,
Right. My kids will do that. I need to call my prayer partner then because I get really, I think the family takes me to an emotional state where I do need someone
Mm.
else to help center me. The other stuff I've got, but my family sends me to a practitioner quickly.
Oh, that's why
so
they're
we,
there, just to remind us.
Huh?
They're there to remind us that we need prayer.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm here to remind myself I need prayer so I can act accordingly to the prayer and not what
Mm.
my human side is telling me to do.
yeah. Well, these are, remember, folks, this is unscripted, so we're asking these questions, and boom, it's coming out of the mind. And we have to remember that everybody's in our show is human, and we welcome
Well,
it.
I thought that that's why we were here because the whole point of it, I found this teaching because I was human
Yeah.
and I needed, and I learned the term we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I discovered the 7 habits of highly effective people just before I found this teaching on the radio.
Mm.
Dr. Kennedy Schultz was the minister
Mm.
at the time of the Atlanta Church of Religious Science, and I'm a jazz fan, so he had an ad on there, and
Ooh.
so I ended up going eventually, but it took me a while because I didn't want another flavor of the month. I'm like, I'm looking, but what is this?
Right.
But the 7 habits and the 7 steps of treatment, 7 days a week, that's like jackpot for me. It works. That's my spiritual jackpot. It works every single time. And if I can't do it, I need somebody to remind me of my spiritual jackpot.
I love that. And remember, there's no special way to pray. They're just steps to get us into the consciousness of knowing that oneness with that one.
Mm.
Well, it's back to saying I'll forget. I
Yeah, we
said doubt,
forget.
but I'll forget. I think the doubt is the forgetfulness. And so I think if that's human, what human is not going to forget? What,
Mm.
what that, because we're human. People forget we're human and that no one's perfect.
Yeah,
And if
Well,
Mike.
anybody's perfect, I'm going to probably run from you. Because there's no one perfect. Everyone is going through something on this planet. We may not know what it is or why it is, but
Well, in our
everyone's going through life.
right, in our finite state, we're not perfect, but in our infinite state, we are.
yep.
Correct. And so
Yep.
that's
Mike.
what spiritual mind treatment is for, to get us back to that infinite state.
Mm.
There's one power. There's one, that's why I said I forget. It's like, why do you doubt that? But
Yeah.
I'll be looking at circumstances that show me, well, why doesn't that look like that? Why doesn't that look like spirit? Why doesn't that look like what I thought it would? Well, maybe it is because there's no accidents, there's no coincidences. So even the stuff that looks totally a wreck and devastated and hurtful and wrong or even abusive has meaning in
Yeah, the
someone's life.
divine is in that too. And it's
It
funny you
doesn't.
said that. We've had emails from viewers that said, "Thank you. I remembered who I am through your podcast."
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's nice to remember that for each other.
We do. We do.
And then if you can't hold that perfection that is you, or you're not getting the results you want, then you could always go with a practitioner and have them walk you through it. Either short, we have our 5 minute miracle or 1 minute miracle that we have at most centers, but we also have where practitioners or reverends will sit down and counsel or just help you to map it out. Even prayer practitioners will help you to map it out with prayer to go to the next step, go to the next step, go to the next step, and
Mm.
aha moments.
Aha.
Aha.
There's so
And
many
that's, I
times
think,
where I forget who I am. I'll call Rich up and he'll remind me of who I am just through him knowing it. So it's really
Well,
wonderful that way.
yes, my prayer partner and I are actually going to start a private practice on spiritual mind treatment, pretty much like what you and Rick are doing, I guess, but not on air with people because I would not have become a practitioner without him. I was
mm,
going through practitioners training for my own sake and my own safety. I was actually going through a divorce, and it helped me focus on the higher side of life rather than in the battle of a divorce. It went better than it would have without that simultaneous act in my life, but it was for me. So he actually called me and he said, "Are you going to do get your license?" I'm like, "No." My life is too much of a mess. I'm going through a divorce. My kids are in college. Had this whole laundry list of why I should not be a practitioner. And everything I said, he said, is why you should be one,
Mm.
because look at what you're doing. So it
Yeah.
just, I wouldn't have been able to be a minister. I wouldn't have been able to be ordained. I wouldn't be sitting here now. So my prayer partner and I have been praying since 2002.
Wow. Hey, how have your prayers evolved over time?
I didn't know thank you God was a prayer.
mm,
That's how it
Mm.
evolved. I remember not even wanting to stand up and do a treatment because I thought you could get it wrong and you can't. And I was already a speaker at IBM, but I thought it was some magic to a treatment, and it's not. So once I got the steps right and it became a flow, and people said it felt like poetry, the poetry of gratitude became even
Mm.
more profound for me because that helps me not to go to doubt so quickly. If I say thank you, there's no room for doubt. But
Mm.
so that's how it's evolved. I can say thank you in a heartbeat, and it's a complete prayer.
I love that.
so it's funny. We're thinking about this, and you said that in your day you wake up, and when you wake up, do you just go, "Thank you, God," or
I
do you
like
just
that. My neighbors might come looking for me if I do that. It's kind of quiet. It's kind of whispery. I wish it was louder though, Rick. But I'm kind of it's kind of whispery. It's not so loud, but it's often.
That's good though, because then you're expressing yourself. Because each of us, Paul and I, you talked about this ad nauseum. Is that some people are really loud, and some people just speak it inside of
Mm.
their heart and know that calmness and that peace within them, and then all of a sudden, ooh, okay, the
Hmm.
sunshine comes in and falls upon me.
I like it. I like it. I do. Because, yeah, I think I had a noisy previous life. I had kids that were in sports and I'm cheering for them. And then I got a fast paced IBM life. I had a military life. And then there's all the other stuff that I didn't even know what was going on in the background noise of life.
Yeah.
So it was noisy. I like the quiet. The next book I'll be writing is called The Noise from My Other Life.
Ooh.
And
And you
it
heard it
got
here first.
you heard it here. Well, I've been saying it a while, but I get it more and more because a part of it is noise is not always loud. It's passive
Mm.
Mm,
aggressive, and so a part of what we were building at our center that I want to continue to build is a holistic team where you have a spiritual leader, but you also have a mental leader and we have a therapist at our center that is on mental wellness. So we did a suicide prevention event recently in September because mental health is so important. And then we had an addiction therapist for the emotional side, and then we have an LPN about to be an RN from the medical aspects, because that's the habit 7 for me: taking care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and social emotionally. And that whole self is important. You got,
Could,
if you're not thinking right, you're not going to pray.
could you say that prayer is a meditation for you?
I think prayer is meditation. People use different words because we say
Mm,
spiritual mind treatment and we really mean it. But then we say affirmative prayer because people can pray and they may be begging when they pray. So I think meditation and prayer are sisters or brothers or something,
mm,
because you're just stopping. Because I think before I found this language that we call spiritual mind treatment or the 7 habits, I was already doing it. That's why it felt like family when I
mm,
found this. I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. This is my language, because it was already in there. I just didn't have the words for it. So that's why I say it's meditation, because I would just stop and be quiet and
mm.
answers would come to me on what to do with my family, my children, the move, even this walk.
Mm.
It felt like you're that duck in the water when you said that.
When
You
I
finally found
pledged
out.
Delta, I was a duck. They made us quack around the campus while we were pledging. It's funny you said that. We were. They made us quack.
Oh man.
Maybe that's
Well,
why I like birds.
for our audience, just to make sure if you're listening to this, Stephen Covey wrote a book on the 7 habits, and that's
Mm,
that's something you might want to look at. It'll be in the show notes. Those that you're listening on different platforms, but if you don't know about this, it would be something really good to look at. Uh,
Oh,
I
and then you
think
can
it's
come see Happy Academy on that, because I coach
yeah.
that. I coach and counsel from that, because habit 1 is be proactive. That's pausing for prayer. If you
Mm,
pause and let your emotions, I couldn't say pause for prayer and Covey stuff, but I can say it in Happy Academy. So you have to pause and then begin with the end in mind is treatment, and then you act on it is put first things first. So it couples so well with this teaching, and I coach that way. So I'd love to work with you.
it,
mm,
what are those 7 habits that you said you've done two? Now
Okay,
it's
the
three.
7 habit. The first one is be proactive.
mm,
The second one is begin with the end in mind. The third one is put first things first, and that's the private victory. You go from dependent to independent, and we can't work with anybody if we're dependent on other than
mm,
God. And if you got independent people, this is what this group is about. The next step is habit 4, think win win. Habit 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Habit 6 is synergize. Those are the public victories. We can do those things when you're proactive, beginning with the end in mind and putting first things first. And the very last one is habit 7, and that's taking care of yourself. Sharpen the saw. Taking your care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and social emotionally. You're supposed to do that all the time.
And the reason why I bring it up for our audience is that we try to focus on the science of mind and Ernest Holmes on this, but this is a very important book that was put out there, and it's used in a lot of our philosophy because we're open at the top, which means we're
Yes,
not just going to
mm.
be closed-minded to better ideas or better ways of doing things. And
correct.
this is very important for our listeners to understand that. The I guess the takeaway for it is, we'll plug your site at the end, of course, again, but you should probably look at that book if you haven't done it. Uh, what is your favorite Ernest Holmes book?
Mm.
Uh, I'm gonna just be honest. It's him and Raymond Charles Barker together. 365
Is he?
Days of Richer Living.
Ooh,
Ooh.
That's my
that
favorite.
that's deep. I like that one too. Also,
No, that's my favorite.
And how
well,
would you explain our philosophy to someone watching that doesn't know what it is?
That's not fair. I wish that's that elevator speech where you got to
Yeah,
practice it for
elevator
half your
speech.
life to get it done. But this our philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a spiritual way of living.
Mm.
Each day is a spiritual way of living. You connect with your spirit and live from there.
I like it. That's what it says on the big book, The Science of
Does
Mind,
it?
a faith, a philosophy, a way of life.
It is. It's truly that. It's not a Sunday thing, a Wednesday thing. It's every second thing.
Every second thing. I love that. And our
Hmm.
choices behind it, every second thing.
Every second thing. So if I'm all upset, I'm choosing that, and that's not easy to swallow. That's the other thing about this teaching. You take full responsibility. That's what couples with the habits so much. For
Mm.
me, once you take responsibility for your life, you can't blame anybody. No one. Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your husband, your minister, your
Your dog.
coach, your dog, your house, where you live, where you grew up, how old you are. None of that.
None of that.
All that's out the window. And that's what this teaching does too. And that's not an easy place to be. People like to place blame.
And do you have a favorite quote from Ernest Holmes?
Um, do I have it here? I don't know it by heart. I kind of carry it where I go. But my it wouldn't be an Ernest Holmes quote if I had to be honest. So my quote is by Thomas Troward. When the end
Mm.
is held firmly enough in consciousness, the means to bring it about has already been set in motion.
Mm.
That's my favorite quote.
And of course, Trord is the precursor to Holmes on
Yeah,
some of
he's the
his
grandfather
research.
of New Thought.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So
So, how does spiritual mind treatment show up in your life?
Ooh.
And most people say parking spaces, but I'll just give you an example.
it's people may not like this word, so forgive me for being on the spot, but it's like magic.
Oh, it is magic.
It's
Yeah.
constant. It's a constant. I remember starting out. It's funny you said parking spaces, and that's how I see people can be kind of elementary. Science of mind 101 versus a PhD in it. And so
Mm.
I'm at the PhD level in 101, if that makes sense. I can see God a lot quicker than I did when I first started this. I see
Mhm.
God in everyone, whether they see it yet in themselves. And I think I saw that as a child, and it was trying to get wiped out with the way the world is, as Earth, Wind, and Fire would sing, and that's the way of the world. A child is born with a heart of gold, and the way of the world makes his heart grow cold. And this teaching doesn't make your heart grow cold; it keeps you warm.
Well, we're at the 2 minute mark. Um, when do you release a prayer into law? In your
If
opinion, I know. When do you
if
release the prayer into law?
The
In
law
your
of mind.
opinion, well, some people do it where it's in them and it's already released because they've thought about it. Other people say, "I release it into law and know it is so, and release it now. Give it to God."
Well, that I'll give to Ernest because I released it, and so it is. That's when I feel like
Mm.
I've released it.
You let it
Cool.
go.
I've got to say it though. I've got to say the words.
So, what would you want our audience to take away from this show today?
Pray. Come to. If you're not able to do it, get a prayer partner. Find
Mm.
us. Pray as often as possible. Don't pretend nothing's going on in your life like it's not, because happiness is the truth. And always telling yourself the truth, that's the key to life. Know what happiness is to you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let me go ahead and just say that every center is important. Your center is. Let me go back over that. Is secdothan.org. Go ahead and
Yes.
say what that is.
The Spiritual Enrichment Center of Dothan. It's on the way to the beach, Panama City Beach. So
There
come
you go.
stop by and see us. We
That's,
actually have a project coming up on that. So look for us to talk about Pause for Peace on the way to the beach.
And
and
can you
then you
say your
have
book again?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And help support mental wellness habit 7 with birds of a feather. All our proceeds kind of help kids of all ages, I say, because we're all children. We're all children,
Mm,
and we all want to be nurtured. And the proceeds go to help kids that are in the hospital during the holidays. And I want to do more aging out foster care work with the teen habit. So
mm.
proceeds are
And,
helpful.
and and then your other site is myhappyacademy.org.
Right. Yes.
And
Yes.
and again, it's very important that you go to these sites and check them out. We've had so many different reverends on. They all have wonderful sites, and you should check out her site to see what she has available, because you're in Alabama, right? Or where's that at?
I'm commuting. I live in Atlanta. My center is in Alabama, so I'm in Alabama almost as much as I'm in Georgia now.
Sounds like a country song, huh?
I like that.
And my
Oh,
dog is in Texas. So, anyways, would you mind praying us out, Reverend Niecy? It was so
that
good.
was great. This is beautiful. Two things. I'm going to pray us out with a treatment, but do go to myhappyacademy.org to our Credo page and read Mother Teresa's recipe for peace as
Mm.
often as possible, because that will help center you during these holiday seasons or any time during the year, and to live in gratitude. So thank you for having me on the show, gentlemen. Let us know this together, that there's a power for good, and we're here to use it. It's actually great. This was a great opportunity to
Mm.
spread the joy of spirit in each one of us, because we're so unique. We look forward to that child in us exploring and venturing out and transforming not just our lives, but the lives of all we meet. Because as we spread joy and peace on earth now, it spreads from generations to come, and we will fulfill that dream: peace on earth, goodwill to men. We give thanks knowing that this is true for us now and always. And so it is.
And so it
So it
is.
is. Well, I'm Reverend Rich of First Radio, and go to my site, don't buy me a cup of coffee, and then go to Paul's site, which is,
IamSpiritAlive.com.
you can go to his site, buy him a cup of coffee, and then go to Reverend Niecy's site, because she's got a lot of good stuff on there.
We
And
do.
Mm.
so we say bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.